Hi, everyone. We're here with Peter Paul Parker today in our series of practitioner interviews with Sissoo. And we have about an hour of interesting conversation for you lined up. And I will share a bit first about Peter Paul's experience, which is very rich. Peter, you're a Dan master, Meraki guide, Qigong teacher, practitioner, mindfulness advocate, and you're on a mission to guide people towards a profound inner journey that leads to outward success, authenticity, and a sense of true joy. And you wholeheartedly believe that the path to outward success begins with an introspective exploration, cultivating authenticity and purpose. Your unconventional approach to coaching has been recognized, most notably with the Outstanding Meditation and Mindfulness Coach Award in 2023 by SME magazine. Wonderful. And through meditation, mindfulness, and holistic practices, you empower people to thrive in a world often defined by challenges. And you've had challenges in your own life too. From a young age, you were on a quest for answers, driven by a traumatic childhood and the enigmas of life. And this pursuit led you also to connect with Eastern masters and mystics, igniting a thirst for deeper understanding. You had two profound out-of-body experiences and made you realize the vast untapped potential within each of us. And the realization compelled you to establish coaching programs and classes that facilitate journeys of self-discovery and empowerment. So, wow. So much experience, so many different offerings. And so you combine meditation, mindfulness, but also shadow work and emotional healing. Perhaps would you like to introduce us in your own words to your core approach and what makes it unique? I would love to hear more about that.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. It was amazing.
Mm.
My thing really is for human beings to be human beings again. That's really where I'm trying to get
Mm.
at. Because, like you mentioned, my childhood was very traumatic, and the doctors kept on telling me I was this, I was that, and I was this and that, and this is human nature, and the world is like this because of this. And I kept on saying, well, this isn't my nature. This isn't me. This isn't who I am. I can act out like a play these what they call human nature, but I realized it wasn't me at a very early age. So
Mm.
my core thing is really to get human beings to connect to what we call 0 point, which is like the field, and it's now scientifically being shown to be like the Higgs boson particle, where we're like vibrating off of this Higgs boson particle, which is coming into the nature of our reality. So
Mhm.
it's really about connecting to that. It's that inner consciousness, that inner awareness that views all your thoughts, feelings, your emotions, the way that you act, the way that you see that your cycle's happening. It's about connecting past that and coming back into viewing your body. Now, that is not easy. And I'm not even going to start to say that that is easy, but there are ways that you can start to do that through the body. I
Mm.
realized that I started to do it through my body when I took up Qigong in about 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. But I did martial arts before that. So I was very into the body. And then I
Mhm.
became a musician and I got very into parties. And then I came back into spirituality by picking up Qigong again. And it made me realize that I could release my stress and anxiety very quickly through actually focusing your mind 100%, which is really mindfulness, 100% on your body and your breathing for the time that you're practicing the Qigong. And I always say at every class that I take and to any people that I'm coaching is keep softening your body with your mind. When you're moving,
Mhm.
everything should be soft and flowing. So that water energy, that beautiful feminine energy that can flow through your body.
Mhm.
Because we've been, as far as I'm concerned, we've been hijacked or hoodwinked to go into the left brain, the intellect, to
Yeah.
live this life, which is taking us more and more towards materialism. And we need to ignite the right brain and the heart, which
Mm.
actually brings it back into balance and it bring more the feminine energy to come back in.
Mm.
And people get confused with male and female energy because they just look at gender as is a biological thing. It's way, way past that. So again, what I'm talking about is the 0 point. That is way past any polarity. really coming into like understanding where we come from. Because there are studies now that show that we are projected into the body, and it's science is really picking up on where our consciousness comes from. And I think that's a beautiful thing because it means all these wonderful mystics and people that I've been listening to all my life suddenly it all makes sense because it's all starting to become physical rather than sort of spiritual woo woo, that type of thing. It's more sort of core sort of feelings that you have is to help you break past your limitations in your body because all of us, we've all been hurt in the past, and this world hurts us because we see our brothers and sisters and all the animals and everything getting hurt and destroyed by this meme that we live in at the moment, and that builds barriers on the heart. And like Dr. Bark said, it's like unpeeling the onion from the Bach flower remedies. Or in the Tao, we call it polishing the diamond, which came from my Qigong background. Even in Christianity, it's called Christos. Before all the writings came in with Christianity, and they were jumbling up all the different writings. The Greek word Christos, I believe it means the Christ spark inside, and it's about lighting that up. Or Islam even calls it polishing the mirror. It's about lighting up this spirit inside. And it was the Gospel of Thomas, which was being removed from the Bible, where it says, when Jesus actually said, if you don't allow what's inside to come out, it will destroy you. And I really start to see so much depression, so much anxiety. And I do a lot of work with the elderly people. When they can't express themselves properly, I can see them as they get older, they kind of start to shrink. But the ones who have been working with me for 10, 15 years, they haven't changed at all. They've gone from 70 to 80 and they still look like they were when they were in the 70s because they're allowing themselves to express themselves properly.
Yeah.
So my core thing really is about human beings being human beings. And I know I said quite a lot then, and I hope that makes all sense.
Yeah.
But it's about you being a human being. And I'm really passionate about that because I can't stand this whole thing. Well, it's just the way that it is, and this is how it happens, and this is life. And I says, no, it isn't. What we're doing this everything's telling us we're at the end of a cycle. We're at the end of a cycle, and this cycle's going into a new cycle. We either embrace that change, or if you hold on to like the material world, it will hurt you. It will start to really to sting inside, and that's one of the hardest things I've had to do. I feel in my life is to let a lot of that go. It's like I used to say, hi, my name's Peter. I'm a musician. That was how I used to introduce myself. It was dropping that, my name's Peter. What do I say next?
Yeah.
That was quite a hard thing for me to actually let go of. Now it's, I'm Peter. That's it. That's what I say. I just live as a human being. But yeah, the core thing that to answer your question succinctly, it's about connecting inside more deeply.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and you mentioned already that from a young age you had somehow that feeling that you were more than the ego or the your wounds. And you talk a lot about the challenges in life, and you've had some definitely in your own. And yeah, I would love to hear a bit more about how that has shaped your journey and also your quest to go to the East and the mysticism. You mentioned some out of body experiences that you had. So how has that shaped your work and your understanding also of what you're teaching others? So,
Well, my mother was really, I wasn't a mummy's boy by any stretch of the imagination. I was quite mischievous. I've got like that rascal thing inside of me. If you studied the Vedic scripts, you understand what a rascal is, someone who starts to take in knowledge but still plays around with it a little bit. So I was a bit like that. So my mother and father actually adored me. I was the second youngest boy. And I knew that my mother and father really got what I was talking about because I was speaking about things that were way, way before my time as a young boy. And I was quite ill. So my mother had to look after me quite a lot. But I was like the second youngest of six boys. And they were all like typical blokes. I don't want to knock blokes, but just typical men, sort of archetypal, what we expect to be men in this world. And I go, well, I'm not like them. I can be tough. I can be warrior-like. I can do all of that stuff, but that's not me at the core. I'm not playing this pretend. So I could see that straight away. There was a difference between me as a man and them as men.
Yeah.
And then when my mother died, they sent me off to a boarding school, and it was very strong Josephite influence. It's like Catholic Josephite influence,
Mm.
which Catholic means like it's like a doctrine. It means like this is ordered. It's how they ordered spirituality. Constantine did it mainly, but it's. I remember hearing the name Jesus in Bible studies, and I put my hand up and said, "Who is this guy? Right? Who is this guy?" Because none of you, you're talking all this wonderful stuff, but none of you are actually living like that, and you're sort of all dressed up in your monk's clothing and things like that. This is me being the rascal, right? None of you are doing that, and they said, "Get out of my class. I'm not having you in my class." So I was
Mm.
questioning that straight away. And then when it came to physics, I kept on putting my hands up and questioning physics, saying, "Is that a theory or is that actually the truth?" And I said, "Well, it's a theory." I said, "I don't agree with that." I had no idea what I was talking about, by the way, but I just said, "I don't agree with that whatsoever. Why are you teaching me this stuff that doesn't actually resonate with me?" And then when I went in later in life, when I went into quantum mechanics and quantum physics, I went, wow, this is amazing. And that resonated with me straight away,
Mm.
which is why I got deeply into it. So
Mm.
that told me there was quite a lot of red flags in this society that we're living in right now. And that's part of the healing process, is to actually see that for yourself.
Yeah.
And then my father died when I was 19, and I was put into like a printing works, and I had a
Mm.
job. It was cash, but it had a wage slip and it was all properly done. And I remember being the first taxed, because we get like 6 months, I think it is, before we're taxed. I remember the first tax statement came in and goes, "Who are these people taking this money off of me?" I was so naive. And I stormed into the director's office and said, "What's this?" They said, "Well, it's tax to pay for society." I said, "Who are these people? What do they want? And why do they want my money?" And then I went in, because I studied economics at school, and I saw how it all works and how the banking system works. I didn't agree with any of that. And
Mm.
then it came to that point of going, this is not right. This is not right. How can this be like controlled on you, a control system? And then that took me to, cut a long story short, I got fed up with the job. I went into music. Music was beautiful because I was with lots of highly sensitive people, which I am a highly sensitive human being. And that was really good until it started to deteriorate. And during that time, I had two out of body experiences that made me realize that when we come out of the body, all of this human, intellectually understood information drops off of you. All the emotions, all the feelings, all the trauma, all the upset, everything drops off of you, and you're just there as a being. But that intensity of that being makes this look really dull. And
Mm.
then all the colors were amazing. The sounds, it was different. I was hearing without ears. I was seeing without eyes. I was experiencing sound without anything really. And it was incredible. I had that twice happen to me.
Mm.
And that when that happened to me, people thought I'd lost my mind, I'd gone completely crazy. And I was going, okay, fair enough.
Mm.
So I had to be very careful how I spoke about that kind of sort of experience
Yeah.
when I was mixing with new people. But what that led me was a quest to go, what was that all about? What happened there? Why was that? Why did that happen to me? Why was I looking down at my body? My body was still, one of them, I was still awake, and I was actually playing a gig, playing a music gig. The other one, when I was lying and meditating in my front room. So two of them were completely different. But
Mm.
why was my body still breathing? I could see myself breathing when I was lying down. I could see myself playing when I was out of the body. I could feel and sense orbs, see orbs all around me, which were like other beings. And I went, this is incredible. This is incredible. So I started to look into that. I started to read about astral projection and meditation, mindfulness, and it took me a long time. But I started to get in. I found the Qigong practice, so I started to look into the Tao, and I
Mm.
realized from India. And then once I started looking into the Tao, I started looking into the Upanishads and the Vedas of the Indian scripts.
Mm.
And then I started to go on workshops with masters and high up spiritual gurus. We used to sit and talk for hours and hours and hours to some amazing people. Been blessed to meet so many beautiful spiritual people.
Mm.
And I was slowly forming this in my mind as I was doing this, and I was slowly putting the pictures together. And what happened was I suddenly realized that the Qigong that I was doing was helping me not have an out of body experience, but understand my consciousness and open up my consciousness to different information that I was rejecting. And that's a big part of this. We reject, no, that can't be happening because that
Mm.
didn't happen to me. And I have conversations with people who've died on the operating table and said, well, I went blank.
Mm.
And I said, it's only about 20% of people who will remember that near death experience. The other 80% don't. My question is, why is it only 20% who remember? Is it something to do with being highly sensitive and your insula being a little bit more connected to your spirituality? And what you learn here is what you take forward when you pass
Mm.
on. These are
Interesting.
big
Yeah.
questions that I really would like
Mm.
to know more about, but I keep working and sort of
Mm.
progressing with my studies. And
Mm.
at the moment, you probably tell I'm into looking into Jesus and stuff at the moment. Not that I'm saying I'm a Christian or anything like that, because I'm not really anything. I'm a being. I'm a human being. But this is very interesting, the research I'm doing into Jesus at the moment.
Mm.
So what really spurred me on was the out of body experiences and my younger experiences as a child, because I realized this world could be idyllic, but I also understand why we have the problems we have is for
Mm.
us to refine ourselves. And
Mm.
that came before any religions happened. We
Mm.
had, Carl Jung talks about this with the shadow work, is we had self-reflective psychology, which was really big before any institutional religions came along. And also we
Mm.
had compassionate energy healing, which can be for yourself or for other people.
Mm.
And these two things have been flattened in human consciousness, and both of them are really feminine aspects because we've come into a matriarchal world. We're living in a matriarchal, no, sorry, patriarchal world.
Now, yes.
Yeah, yeah. But the
Mm.
matriarchal energy now is rising. The divine feminine energy is
Mm.
rising. I love it. I absolutely love it because
Mm.
if you go back past Christianity, when the Gnostics used to do their rituals, they weren't too some of them weren't too big on rituals, but when they did something, everybody would take on the role. Whoever was facilitating it, it would be a man or a woman, didn't matter. And all these different roles, everybody would have a chance to do that. Male or female didn't matter,
Yeah.
so that they'd all experience what it was like to be the facilitator or to be the practitioner or to be this or to be that. And
Mm.
that was a real egalitarian sort of society living properly and trying to find out, what am I doing here? Because that's the big question. What am I doing now? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing here? These are all big questions that we want to learn.
Yes.
So
And you're, yeah.
coming down to my coaching, it's not answering those questions. What it is refining yourself back to the
Mm.
proper place to ask those questions without all the noise that we live in.
Yeah,
Does that make
absolutely.
sense?
Yeah, yeah, because I was gonna say just now that you're a guide to bring people back, right, to their
Yeah.
humanity.
That's what
Yeah.
the Meraki guide. Meraki means is another Greek word. It means like soul driven, soul led, and with especially the emotional healing and the trauma, we get fractured. The soul doesn't like it. Doesn't
Mm.
like all this because that's why a lot of us been cut off from our higher energies. It doesn't like all of this stuff. It doesn't like seeing murder and death and war and all these horrible things that we're going through. So it kind of cuts off and shatters. It's like bringing it back in,
Yeah.
all those little fragments. So when for successful coaching, which I've had lots of,
Mm.
you're bringing people back into themselves. Go, okay, well, it's okay to feel like that. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel all of that. But what we'll do is we'll work it through the body. And where's that stuck in your body? Because the
Mm.
body is it tells you everything. We're full of water, right? Water has memory,
Mm.
and water is very pliable. It's very good for electricity to flow through. So we
Mm.
have this electrical body, which is electromagnetic frequency,
Mm.
but that's based on EMFs. But we also have a true
Mm.
electric body coming up the
What
spine,
is the MF? Sorry,
electromagnetic frequencies.
EMF.
That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
EMFs. That's the
Yeah.
body,
Yeah.
which is the heart math. It says we
Mm.
got our heart is the biggest electromagnetic frequency. But
Mm.
the pineal gland, when that chemistry comes up and
Mm.
hits the pineal gland, it turns into electricity and shoots out.
Mm.
And then when that electricity comes back to us, if that is not clear, if this is all blocked up with calcium and all this other stuff that blocks it up, it's all foggy. Our spirituality is foggy. So what we do in the Qigong practice, and I do this alongside my coaching as well, I call it flipping the pyramid. All the information we have is in the head.
Mm.
It's all stuck in the head. We're all stuck in the head, and mainly left brain. Some of us who open up the right brain, that's when we usually become healers and spiritual guys and all this kind of stuff. But mainly in the left brain, and we're an upside down pyramid. So all the information's upstairs, not in the downstairs section.
Yeah.
So we're upstairs. So we call this in my Qigong practice the three danjons. But if you're used to Chinese Qigong, it would be the dantians.
Mm.
So the lower danjon is where you want to have all your power, your passion, and your creativity, because it's like the sex drive has a lot of creativity involved with it, and we're getting distracted because of this sexually obsessed society that we live in. But if you use that energy to find out what you're passionate about, that is more in line with that passionate energy and the creative energy that is in your lower danjon. And the power comes from that naturally. That's your natural power. So you want to get that flat. That's flat and strong and connected to the earth. As you come up, your heart naturally feels that energy rising to the head, which is the upper danjon, which is where your higher connections come from. So literally on a physical level, it's flipping the danjons, flipping the pyramid, as it were, because our science told us the head should be cool and the belly should be warm. So thousands and thousands of years ago, they came up with the theory of with the idea of the body having water up, fire down. So you have this microcycle in your body. The water comes up from the kidneys, fire comes down, the thoughts in the head, and then the emotions from the heart goes down into your lower danjon. So we're spinning in a microcycle, which is in a macro cycle. So we're a little cycle within a bigger cycle. That's how we work.
Wow.
And it's about understanding that in a small way. You don't have to think big, like I'm talking really big at the moment. It's like in a small way, you're talking about embodying this feeling so that you can touch the back of your head once you've done a Qigong session. It should be cool, like a fridge.
Yeah.
Mine's like a fridge now when I do Qigong, and your belly should be warm. And that's just you tapping into the natural energies of your body. And then you should be connected to all your body. So you should be able to move your fingers independently, even the tips of the fingers independently. So your neural pathways are all intertwined with your body, and you're working, functioning properly as a body. And that your body is, every single cell in your body are receivers and transmitters of information. So you're continually putting out and bringing in information through your cells. And if we're cut off from all of that, it really does affect us, and it makes us feel anxious. Because I work with people with strokes, and their fists freeze up, and you get them very slowly to opening up their fists. And when they do that, suddenly their body starts to open up as well. It's like a beautiful thing. So there's a lot there again.
Yes, so much richness of and knowledge and experience of the Eastern methodologies, but bringing it to Western audience, right?
Yes.
So, and I'm also wondering for some people in our community who are maybe just beginning on the spiritual path, what could that mean for them? How could they enter this world that you're describing?
You have to rather than having a ritual, which is mantras and things like that, which are all cool, rather than you start to do it with your body, and then your body will start to feel better straight away. Because if you haven't worked your body at all for years, your body will start to feel better very quickly with Qigong, especially this Korean style of Qigong that I teach. This is what got me into it, because I did go to other Tai Chi and Qigong many years ago. Wasn't really impressed with it at all. And then when not knocking anybody though, but when I came across this Korean type of Qigong, which is more focusing on your body, I went, this is incredible, because it was like every aspect of your body. And it wasn't, you weren't waiting to see what the next level was. You were given all the stuff and so you can do this through your body, but it's up to you to do the work. And that's the bit most people don't like. So it's when you do the work, that's when you start to get into your practice. It's like every day when I'm waiting for, I do a lot of shaving in the mornings, you probably see. But when I'm waiting for the water to warm up, I'll be doing my shoulders.
Mm,
And then I'll step into like a kidney meridian
mm,
position. So I've got the water coming up straight away, and then I'll go straight downstairs after my showers and do some very easy qigong practices, get the water energy flowing through me, so I'm
mm,
more ready for the day. Whereas if I'd
mm,
get straight out of bed, which is what I used to do, I might be still holding a grump or a grudge from the day before. But no, I've cleared all that out and now I'm really refreshed.
mm,
It's basically about clearing your energy to start off with.
mm,
It's about clearing the energy, cleaning. They called it cleaning. They called it Su Heng, which
mm,
means cleaning. So even when you're cleaning your house, you're thinking about this is cleaning me.
mm.
Even when you're just moving your arms up and down very gently, this is cleaning me. So
Yeah.
it's about focusing on cleaning and cleansing
Mm,
and allow the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions to come up and just observe them. That's the hard bit. That's the bit that
mm,
takes lots and lots of training. But when you learn to sit there and you go, where did this thought come from? Well, that's not particularly nice. Where did that? What is that all about? And you observe it. That's shadow work as well.
mm,
Shadow work is all about observing and letting your subconscious deal with it. Because you
mm,
always think, oh, we got a problem, I've got to deal with it, blah, blah. But you deal with it through your body. Let your subconscious naturally do it because a lot of our issues today come from the subconscious and childhood troubles that we've had. A lot of them come from that. So we develop protection mechanisms to protect us, basically. So we might act in a what some people would call, well, that was a bit over the top, or you're a bit harsh then. It's a protection mechanism to keep people away because you were hurt by something in the past. It might have been your father or your mother speaking to you in a bad way. And one of my clients, I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying it, but we dug and dug and dug and dug and dug, and we found it. It was when her father forgot her eighth birthday. She was expecting her father to give
okay.
presents and stuff, and he actually completely forgot it. And
Mm,
that came in as like a real, almost anti-men type feeling all through her life.
mm,
And now she understands she doesn't have to be like that, but she's seeing because she had that protection mechanism up, and she does work in a big corporation, so she's seeing the toxicity of the male energy in that big corporation. Now she's actually doing things to appease that and working with female bosses to get things right, which is brilliant.
fantastic.
So
Yeah.
it's that whole uncovering of where that came from and allowing it to flow through you.
Mm,
I had another client who was on death's door, had a really terrible heart problem. And she said, if it wasn't for the Qigong practice and the training, you keep telling me to do the breathing exercises, I would never have survived that. And I'm going, well, you did it, you did the work, and you put yourself out to connect with me to do the
mm,
work. That's what's happened. So
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
important to understand how brilliant we are. We don't, none of us, you're
Mm,
brilliant, I'm brilliant, we're all brilliant.
mm,
But we need to respect each other's brilliance as well, because some people will have more development than others, I think is the word.
mm,
Yes.
mm. Yeah, and you talk about this, like your philosophy also, right? To start inwards for outward success. So you have to explore first inwards, be able to connect, and then the outward changes flow.
Yeah. It's all about power versus force. We talk about power from the lower dungeon. The word power has been absolutely messed up in our understanding that we think power, i.e., we think a government is powerful. A government isn't powerful, a government is forceful. Because if you
Yeah.
don't agree with the government, they force themselves onto you. They put you in prison, fine you, whatever. That's force.
Mm,
Power is when you speak, someone like Bob Marley, Martin Luther King, John Lennon, when you speak, people go, wow, I'm going to do that. That's power. And what we've lost is the power inside of us. So what we're training to do is, I did it as a musician. I'm a bass player. I'm the best bass player in the world. I'm going to force myself into this. And I did it. And it was exhausting, exhausting. And now as a Qigong practitioner, I try not to force it. I have to make people aware of what I'm doing. Otherwise, nobody knows what you're doing. But in a gentle way, when people go, oh, he knows what he's talking about. I'm gonna go and take his class. So in some of the classes I've got in my local area, there's 40 people turn up. It's incredible because they really understand the teachings that I'm trying to put across just in 1 hour class. I'm really free with the information that I give. I don't try and go, okay, well, and it works. It's kind of working. And with the coaching, I try and get people moving quickly rather than sit there going over and over and over the same thing. Get them moving quickly so they feel like they're actually uncovering what's inside of them.
Yeah.
But we come inside. It's like simple exercises like fist and palm when you're pushing them out like this, and then you put them into the body. Most people can do that quite easily. A lot of people have problems coming into the body because from a very early age, we're trained to go out. We're not trained to come in. And now going over to Korea, that was very refreshing because the kids now are taking Kukak Qigong. I think it's in the school curriculum now.
Fantastic.
Last time I saw. And they were phenomenal. These young children, like interested. Oh, you're from England, blah, blah, blah. And really interested in talking to you. All walking about on their hands and playing about with each other from all different ages. Their bodies were phenomenally fit and flexible. And going, these children are going to be incredible when they get to adults. So it is about the journey inside. It's about how you feel, how you perceive the world. Where are your limitations? Are you dogmatic about your belief systems? Are you getting into rituals that are getting you more and more frustrated because they're not working for you? It's all about looking at that and finding what's best for you as a human being, because it's not about one glove fits everybody. You've got to find your individual glove and find out what you want to do with your life, and that's important. Because me, it was love. I wanted love. I had these visions of seeing these old films, everybody waving at me as I walked through the street, and people giving me love and saying thank you all the time. And I've gone all this time now, and finally, in a small way, about 50 to 60 people a week I see doing the outside classes. Thank you, Peter. That was a wonderful session. Thank you, Peter. That was a wonderful session. Thank you, Peter. That was a wonderful session. It's come. That vision of me when I was younger has come. And I thought, oh, it'll be loads of money and everybody will be loving me. No, nothing like that whatsoever. It's a beautiful interaction of real things happening in real time with real people. That's what the healing is. So coming inside, you realize when you do connect to that 0 point I was talking about earlier, and you come and you start to project yourself from that 0 point, that's when you realize I have another divine, beautiful being in front of me. So why would I want to upset them? I still do fall into these things that are stuck in my body. I still react sometimes to people. I still, who do you think you are talking to me? I still do that every now and again. But as a rule, people who respect me, I respect them. And there's never any ill words ever spoken to any of these people that I'm working with at the moment. And that's very interesting for me because it was very traumatic, the childhood I had, full of angst and full of frustrations of people not listening to what I was saying and me not really listening to them once I'd shut off. And that was a problem. It's about communication. But past the years, it's about vibration. Because I think we can all feel when someone comes into our domain, we can all feel when there's something off about somebody. And that is just about gently moving yourself away from that negative energy and coming into a place where you're a little bit happier. But it's not about running away. It's not about spiritually bypassing. It's not about ignoring things that frustrate you or make you feel uncomfortable. In fact, they're the things you want to move towards because you want to realize, why is that making me uncomfortable? So journey inwards was when my teacher used to say, when you do set up your classes and when they do get big, go to the people who don't resonate with you. Go to them first and then speak to them extensively. And what I found over the years is actually that initial thing that I didn't like about them, it wasn't like a nasty repulsion. It was just like, I don't like that. It was me. It was me projecting that onto them, which is why I suddenly realized this is shadow work that I'm doing here. I'm projecting myself onto other people and seeing myself back in the parts that I don't like. And once you heal that inside of you, then that person just becomes actually you're much closer to them because of that interaction and that understanding of how energy works. And I'm not saying any of this is easy because it's not. None of this is easy. It takes time, but you
Yeah.
can get there, and we will get there as a species. I know as human beings, we're projected to come into a golden age right now. In the next 30 years, we will be hitting the edge of a golden age. So we need to be doing the work now because what's happening in the world is crazy. And if you do want to go out to succeed, that will be very, very difficult for everybody, and it's getting more and more hard. It's
Yeah.
more difficult when you come in, and it says this in the Vedas. It says this in the Vedic scripts. When you come in and they say worship Krishna. Worship Krishna literally means worship the field, as far as I'm concerned. And you're in the field, you're working with the field, and you believe that there is higher vibrations around you, which there are, then you will be okay in this what they call the Kali Yuga. And I really do firmly believe that. I think it's happening in my life now. I've got this wonderful house, and I live with my wife, and we have this simple life, and we're growing food in the garden, things like that. We've got all
Fantastic.
these wonderful people who are who are growing part of our community, who come to workshops and classes. It's great. It's great. So we all need to be focusing on what's in here,
Yeah.
not what these crazy politicians are doing or these crazy country heads are doing. It doesn't matter about them. It's about you and what's happening inside of you.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have obviously gone through a huge transformative process yourself, right? And you have so much experience with seeking out teachers, doing the work, and then bringing your teachings to people you work with. And you told us a little bit before about the clients that you work with. So I'm really interested in hearing maybe a bit more there and what you feel is kind of the biggest transformation that you see in most of the people that you work with.
That's really important. Yes.
Mm.
Most people I work with have emotional childhood wounds. They've had
Mm.
some sort of trauma in the past. And they get to a certain age, usually about in their 40s or 50s. Sometimes even in their 70s, they'll see me popping up on the internet and they go, "Oh, yeah, he's right. I need to do something about that."
Mm.
And they'll come along and they're usually stuck with something. They've got a cycle going on, or they've got an emotional childhood wound that's making them either feel depressed now, unlistened to, can be making them feel frustrated, that their life is meaningless, there's no purpose. Um, One of them was having a real problem with alcoholism, and recently alcoholism, and not really being listened to, understood, and she was had a terrible childhood with her parents, and she had to get away. She was brilliant in her mind. She could focus on an hour's meditation, sit there for an hour and do a meditation for an hour, come out feeling just as stressed. And I said, "This you're doing it all wrong. It's not about just sitting there silently. You're not actually understanding that. And you're not using your left brain or your right brain. You're not analyzing. You're not creatively fixing. You're not contemplating. You're not using the triangles that are sacred sign symbols have given us these triangles to understand the triangles. The lower danjon should be strong. You should be contemplating. It's like the I Ching. You got the left and the right brain, and you contemplate from those two places. The I Ching. You're not doing that. And then she went through the breathing exercises I do, the Qigong. She did the Qigong for many months. And then she suddenly realized, you're right, it's all about me, isn't it? It's all about me. I'm stuck here, aren't I? I said, yes. You've got these dogmatic belief systems. You've been watching too many YouTube videos who tell you this and that, and it's all this one and all these grassy fields and beautiful sunsets and all this stuff. It's not that. It's more you and you understanding yourself. And she went, wow. And she's now gone off and living a really good life from being stuck in alcohol and being stuck with quite a lot of low vibrational people. So that's one story. There's many of them coming out of depression, forgiving their parents for what they've done. All that kind of thing is important. But it's really about breaking the energy cords of the past. So every
Mm,
time we like this interaction now, we're creating energy cords between the two of us.
mm,
So if there's anything that's bad,
mm,
that can really, the energy cord can get stuck on you and you can't shake it off if you're not trained to do that. So
mm,
the energy cords from the past will be still be dragging us back into that past event where
mm,
you should be able to remember it. There's nothing wrong with remembering it and then going through it and go, okay, was that me? That feels like somebody else, but that's the memory. But if you're
mm,
still in the heat of that energy cord pulling you into that past feeling or trauma, that means that that hasn't been healed yet because
yeah.
it's still very, very hot and very sort of strong emotions, and you'll develop a reactive process in your
Mm,
subconscious to protect yourself. So it's natural what you're doing. So
mm,
yeah, my clients go through this cleansing process. The people who do the qigong, people who, which is much the same thing, they
mm,
say, I'm becoming a better person for this. And
mm,
people who just came for an exercise class, they do it for 6 months, go, this is making me a better person.
mm,
Very good, very good. Because they're cleansing every day. It's about the cleansing
mm,
process. So
mm,
yes, I really deal with mainly emotional childhood wounds and trauma, but also anything that people want to psychologically get over, so that
mm,
you become the leader of your life.
mm,
That's the important thing. You guide your life. You don't allow other influences to guide you,
mm,
which is important because we get pulled left, right, and everywhere because of our arrested development, the way that we've been, the patriarchal society. So you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, you do this. And you go, what do I do? And you lose all that sense of inner wisdom, inner knowledge, inner power. And that is about coming out with that and saying, actually, I don't agree with that. And
mm,
being able to say that without being worried. You should be able to say to your government, actually, I don't agree with that. And it should
mm,
be a discussion and a recourse, not like, shut up, go away,
mm,
or anything like that. You should be able to do that with other people. I don't actually agree with that. And so you can have a conversation about what you don't actually agree with. And usually you come to a place where you're both aligned anyway, when it
mm,
gets deeper and deeper and deeper.
mm.
So it's yeah, the clients are one that I love all my clients. They're all a bit amazing people, and they open up so well after about 3 or 4 weeks of
Mm,
coaching with me. They start to open up and they start to tell me everything about them. And I go, now here you are. Now you've arrived as a human being. Let's see how we can connect even deeper to that and see how you can come out into the real world,
mm,
into the world, material world from this place that you found now. So,
mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
transformations I have seen, and I still seeing them now.
yeah. Oh, that's very powerful. Yeah. So awakening the inner authority, right?
Yes, yes, we all have it, right? Which is why we're beings. If you look at the indigenous tribes of, say, Peru, for instance, there was a we were watching a documentary on them, and they've all got those beautiful coloured clothes, right? And they're all walking around, and they decide to go somewhere as a group, and they'll be walking around. Nobody's talking, right? They're just walking, but they've got smiles on their face. They're all looking really happy. And then they say one of them needs a rest and put their hand up, and they all sit down and have a rest. And they're all literally sitting there, closed eyes, kind of meditating.
Mm,
And then when they're ready to go, they all stand up and they all sort of march off. And then they had their group together as a celebration. Everybody's music, even the children are playing the music and dancing and singing and all together. And there wasn't really a leader, as it were, like we see leaders in the West, especially. It was more everybody was like looking after each other. It's like that
mm,
African proverb:
mm.
the tribe brings up the child.
Yeah.
Everybody was looking after each other as human beings. That's the potential we have inside of us scientifically to know 150 people as well as we know ourselves. But most of us don't know ourselves. And that's where I find this is a big problem for all of us because we don't know ourselves properly. And when we do, when we start to get to know other people, oh, I know you. It's
Mm,
like the Avatar film, isn't it? I see you. I see
mm,
you. It's a
mm,
beautiful thing. And that's
mm,
what I feel we're moving towards as a species now, as human beings. Because I think a lot of people are dropping off from, oh, I want the big mansion, I want the big car, I want the swimming pool, I want all this kind of stuff. It'd be nice to have that as a community thing, but to have it in your own isolated sort of house, I think if you want that, great. If that makes you happy, even better. But a lot of people aren't striving to do that. They're trying to find something to have meaning inside themselves so they can put that meaning out into the world.
Yeah.
And that meaning is important to all of us right now because it's
Mhm.
showing us what we really are inside, and how we present it to the world. How can you present yourself in the best possible way to the world from your heart?
Mhm.
It's not easy, right?
Yeah. Yes, but it's beautiful work, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful how you're supporting people with that and guiding them. And yeah,
Thank you.
with all
Thank
your
you.
experience. Yeah. So we're coming to the end of our conversation, which has been a real joy. If you take a moment, do you feel complete? Is there something you would like to add? Something you would like our community to know? What is there for you?
I personally feel movement and sound are really where it's at. Words are good, right? Words are good to try and explain it. But if you look at all the big teachers, the big spiritual teachers, it's so difficult to put any experience that you've had that has been really esoteric into words. It's really, I can't put my out of body experiences into words that I find really enough. So
Yeah.
if we think about sound, movement, and vibration, is if you put the intention into it, if you think about your intention, right? If you drive, when you intend to get in the car, you don't think, well, I'm going to get my keys out, thinking the process of putting the key in the lock or flicking the button and then opening the door, getting in. You don't think, you intend to drive, right? You don't think about it, you just do it. So it's that intention. If you're using sound plus the intention to heal, you will get healing. If
Mm.
you use Qigong movement, breathing, anything, and the intention to heal, you'll get healing. If you go to a coach or a guide and your intention is to heal, you'll get healing. It's your intention is the most important thing
Yeah.
about that's the thing that really
Mhm.
holds this. It's the glue that holds this all together. It's our intention. What do we want? Which is why I say to people when they say, oh, I can't do anything about the world. Yes, you can. Use your intention to say, I reject this. I don't want this as my way of living in the world. I don't want this. I don't want this force on me. And this force is slowly creeping off. And that would be the same for us. This dogmatic belief systems that we all get stuck in, slowly unpeeling off of us so that we can actually be, okay, well, I don't want to hurt or harm anybody around me. So, and my intention is never to do that. You're getting into your intention, you're becoming more of a human being, which I want for all of us. I want us all to live in a beautiful planet.
Mm, thank you so much. Yeah, that's very inspiring. Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. So people can see your profile on Sissoo. We'll put the link also there in the comments. And yeah, I hope many people find you and your beautiful work.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yes,
you for
well,
offering it.
no, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.